Go ahead and sue us, old man. The bulldozer operator leaned out of his cab, laughing as the machine rolled forward, crushing my father's Vietnam service watch into the mud. 23 years of memories flattened in front of me like it was nothing more than a beer can on the highway. Behind him stood a woman in a crimson-red blazer fitted tight over a black silk V-neck blouse, matching red pencil skirt with a subtle slit, and glossy red heels that had no business being on a construction site. Her auburn hair caught the Tennessee sun as she crossed her arms, red lips curved into a smile sharp enough to cut glass. "Mr. Garrison," she called out, voice dripping with false sympathy. "This is what happens when you ignore HOA compliance notices. Your structure was unauthorized. We gave you ample warning." I stood there in the wreckage of what used to be my mountain cabin, smoke still drifting from the pile of splintered wood that 6 hours ago had been my sanctuary, my retirement dream, my fresh start. "You had no authority to do this," I said, voice steady, despite the rage burning in my chest. She tilted her head, sunglasses sliding down just enough to show ice blue eyes. "Actually, Mr. Garrison, we had every authority. This land falls under Smoky Ridge Estates HOA jurisdiction. You should have read the fine print. This property is 3 miles outside your boundary line." "Was?" she corrected. "The county approved our expansion last month. Everything west of Cedar Creek now belongs to us." She smiled wider. "Including your little cabin." I looked at the bulldozer operator, at the 3 workers standing around pretending to check clipboards, at the woman in red who thought a forged document and hired muscle made her untouchable. What none of them knew, what they couldn't have known, was that I'd spent 26 years as a federal fraud investigator for the U.S. Marshals Service. 26 years hunting people who thought they were smarter than the system, people exactly like her. My name is David Garrison. I'm 58 years old. And I just watched these people make the worst mistake of their entire lives. Because within 72 hours, I'd discover that this wasn't just about my cabin. It was about a multi-million-dollar land fraud scheme involving county officials, fake surveys, and an HOA president named Cassandra Whitmore who'd been stealing property for 3 years. And when I was done, she wouldn't just lose her position. She'd lose everything. I never planned to retire to the mountains. After 26 years chasing white-collar criminals across 12 states, insurance fraud, mortgage scams, identity theft rings, I'd earned my badge and my pension the hard way. The kind of way that leaves you with a divorce, a daughter who barely calls, and a medicine cabinet full of pills for blood pressure you didn't know you had until your doctor threatened to bench you. When I finally turned in my credentials in March 2024, my supervisor asked what I was going to do next. "Find a place where nobody can find me," I'd said. "Good luck with that," he'd laughed. I found it 3 months later on a real estate site buried under rural fixer-upper listings. An A-frame cabin on 8 acres outside Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Built in 1987 by a Vietnam vet named Frank Lancaster, who'd wanted the same thing I did. Solitude, mountains, peace. The cabin was rough. Needed new windows, roof repairs, a porch that didn't creak like a haunted house. But it was mine. Free and clear. Cash purchase, $140,000, surveyed and titled with the county. Most importantly, it was 3 miles west of the nearest HOA boundary, or so I thought. I spent June and July fixing it up, replaced the roof myself, rebuilt the deck, installed solar panels. My daughter Emily came up for a weekend in August, the first time we'd spent real time together in 5 years. "Dad," she'd said, standing on the new deck watching the sunset, "you actually did it. You found peace." "Trying to," I'd said. For 3 glorious months, life was exactly what I'd hoped for. Morning coffee on the deck, afternoons chopping firewood, evenings reading books I'd been meaning to read for 20 years. No cases, no criminals, no stress. Then September arrived, and so did Smoky Ridge Estates HOA. The first encounter happened on a Tuesday morning. I was driving up the access road with lumber when a white SUV with Smoky Ridge security on the door swung across the path and stopped. A man in a cheap security uniform stepped out. Mid-30s, buzz cut, the kind of guy who peaked in high school and never recovered. "Sir, I need to see your resident authorization." I leaned out the window. Authorization for what? Smoky Ridge Estates. All residents and guests must present identification. I'm not in Smoky Ridge. My property is parcel W447, 3 miles west of your boundary. His jaw tightened. "Do you have paperwork?" I handed him my deed. He studied it like he was trying to find a typo that would prove me wrong. "This will be noted," he finally said, handing it back. "Noted by who?" He didn't answer. Just walked back to his SUV and drove away slowly, watching me in his rearview mirror. That look, I'd seen it 1,000 times. The look of someone who'd decided I was a problem to solve. The next warning came 3 days later. A notice tucked under my windshield wiper. Unauthorized structures subject to HOA review. Compliance required within 30 days. No signature. No letterhead. Just intimidation dressed as bureaucracy. I called the county assessor's office, verified my property boundaries, confirmed I was outside HOA jurisdiction. "You're good, Mr. Garrison," the clerk said. "Your parcel predates the HOA by 20 years. They have no authority over your land." That's what I thought. Thanks. But 2 weeks later, I found survey stakes on my property, bright orange flags marking a line that ran straight through my cabin. Someone was trying to redraw my boundaries. I pulled the stakes, photographed them, and filed a complaint with the county. Got a form letter back saying they'd look into it. That's when I knew this wasn't confusion. This was strategy, and I was about to find out how deep it went. The morning they destroyed my cabin started like any other. I woke at dawn, made coffee, and decided to drive into town for supplies. The hardware store opened at 8. I wanted to beat the weekend rush. I locked up, threw my tool bag in the truck, and headed down the mountain. What I didn't know, what I couldn't have known, was that 3 miles back, a convoy was already moving. A bulldozer on a flatbed trailer, a work truck full of contractors, and Cassandra Whitmore in her red blazer, clipboard in hand, directing traffic like a general deploying troops. I was in the lumber aisle when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Mr. Garrison, this is Martin Reeves. I live about 2 miles from you. I think you need to get back up here. Now, what's wrong?" "There's machinery on your property. A bulldozer. His voice cracked. "They're tearing down your cabin. I dropped the lumber. Didn't pay." Didn't apologize. Just ran. The drive back up the mountain took 18 minutes. Longest 18 minutes of my life. When I rounded the final bend and the trees opened up, my stomach dropped. The cabin was gone. Not damaged. Not half collapsed. Gone. Flattened into a pile of splintered beams and twisted metal, smoke drifting across the clearing like a ghost. The bulldozer sat in the middle of the wreckage, engine idling. The operator leaned against the cab, smoking a cigarette like he'd just finished mowing a lawn. 3 workers in reflective vests stood around pretending to check paperwork. And standing at the edge of the clearing, arms crossed, was Cassandra Whitmore. I got out of my truck, slowly. Not because I was calm, because if I moved too fast, I'd do something I couldn't take back. My father's watch caught my eye, the one he'd worn through 3 tours in Vietnam, the one I'd kept on my nightstand for 23 years. It was lying in the mud, glass cracked, band torn. I stepped toward it. The bulldozer rolled forward and crushed it, deliberately, slowly, the operator laughing the whole time. "Go ahead and sue us, old man," he called out. That's when Cassandra walked over, heels sinking into the soft earth, smile painted on like war paint. "Mr. Garrison, this is what happens when you ignore compliance notices. Your structure was unauthorized." I stared at her. "You had no authority to do this." "Actually, we had every authority. This land falls under Smoky Ridge HOA jurisdiction now. County approved our expansion last month." "That's a lie." She pulled a document from her clipboard. "See for yourself. Boundary adjustment, signed by County Commissioner Hayes. Everything west of Cedar Creek now belongs to Smoky Ridge." I took the document, scanned it. It looked official. County seal, signatures, legal language. But I'd spent 26 years reading fraudulent documents, and this one had all the hallmarks: wrong font, mismatched margins, digital artifacts around the seal. This was a forgery. A good one, but a forgery. "You faked this," I said quietly. She smiled. "Prove it." I looked at the wreckage, at my father's crushed watch, at the bulldozer operator still laughing. Then I pulled out my phone and started recording. "State your name," I said to Cassandra. "Excuse me?" "Your name." "For the record." She hesitated, then lifted her chin. "Cassandra Whitmore, president of Smoky Ridge Estates HOA. And you authorized this demolition?" "I enforced HOA regulations on non-compliant structures on property 3 miles outside your jurisdiction. That's not using a forged county document." Her smile faltered. "This conversation is over." She turned and walked toward her car, heels clicking fast. I kept recording, filmed the bulldozer, the workers, the fake document, the wreckage. Then I drove straight to the county sheriff's office and filed a criminal complaint for destruction of property, trespassing, and fraud. The deputy who took my statement was sympathetic but realistic. "Mr. Garrison, if they have a county-approved boundary adjustment, this is a civil matter. You'll need to sue the HOA." "That document is forged. Can you prove that? Give me 72 hours. He sighed. "File the complaint." "We'll investigate, but between you and me, HOAs have lawyers. Good ones. This could take years." I walked out of the sheriff's office and sat in my truck for a long time. Most people facing this situation would hire a lawyer and hope for the best. But I wasn't most people. I'd spent 26 years dismantling fraud schemes. I knew how to follow money, trace documents, find the cracks, and Cassandra Whitmore had just handed me the biggest crack of all. She'd committed her fraud in writing. Now I just had to prove it. And when I did, she wasn't just going to lose. She was going to prison. I didn't go home that night. Home was a pile of rubble. Instead, I checked into a motel outside Sevierville, the kind of place with thin walls and a neon sign that buzzed like a dying wasp and spread everything I had across the bed. My deed, the fake boundary adjustment. Photos of the demolition. The crushed watch, now sealed in a plastic evidence bag I'd bought at a pharmacy. But I needed more. Much more. I'd spent 26 years as a federal fraud investigator, and if there's one thing that training taught me, it's this: feelings don't win in court. Evidence does. Meticulous, documented, chain of custody, certified evidence, so I did what I'd done 1,000 times before. I started at the bottom and worked my way up, following the trail of lies until they led me straight to the liar. Step 1. Verify the authenticity of the county document. The next morning, I drove to the Sevier County Clerk's office in downtown Sevierville. The building was old brick, smelled like must and coffee, and the clerk, a woman in her 60s named Dorothy, greeted me with practiced politeness. "How can I help you today?" "I need to see the original boundary adjustment filed for Smoky Ridge Estates HOA. Should be from September 2024. She pulled up her computer system, fingers clicking across the keyboard with surprising speed. After 5 minutes, she frowned. "I'm not finding anything. When exactly was this filed?" "September 18th, according to the document I was shown." She checked again. Scrolled through digital records, checked paper archives, came back shaking her head. "Mr. Garrison, Mr. Garrison, there's no boundary adjustment filed for Smoky Ridge in September, or August, or any month this year, actually. Last filing was in 2019. My pulse quickened. Can you check Commissioner Hayes' signature logs? This document claims he signed it." She pulled another file. "Commissioner Hayes hasn't signed any boundary adjustments this year, period. Can I get a certified statement saying that?" "Of course." She printed it on official letterhead, signed it, embossed it with the county seal, and handed it to me. First piece of proof. The document Cassandra showed me had never been filed with the county. It didn't exist in any official capacity. It was a complete fabrication. Step 2. Analyze the document itself. Back at the motel, I laid the fake boundary adjustment under a magnifying lamp I'd picked up at an office supply store. When you've examined thousands of forged documents, you develop an eye for the tells, the small mistakes amateurs always make, because they don't know what real documents actually look like. The font was wrong. Official county documents use Times New Roman 12 point. This one used Calibri 11.5. The margins were off. Real documents have specific formatting rules. This one had irregular spacing. The county seal looked right at first glance, but under magnification, I could see pixelation around the edges, digital artifacts that appear when someone scans an image and pastes it into a document. Then I noticed something else. In the bottom right corner, almost invisible to the naked eye, was a pattern of tiny yellow dots. Every color laser printer in the world prints these dots as a tracking mechanism, a kind of fingerprint that identifies the specific printer. I photographed the dots under macro lens and uploaded them to a forensic database I still had access to through a former colleague at the Secret Service. The database matched the pattern to a specific printer model, HP LaserJet Pro M 404DN. Not a common home printer, an office model, the kind HOAs use. Now, I needed to confirm that Smoky Ridge HOA owned that specific model. I called the HOA office, disguising my voice slightly, and posed as a service technician from an IT company. Hi, this is Mark from TechFlow Solutions. We're updating our client database and need to confirm your printer models for our service contracts. Can you tell me what models you currently have? The receptionist, young, probably part-time, didn't hesitate. We have 2 printers. One's an HP LaserJet. I think it's an M404. And the other is a Canon Color Inkjet. Perfect. And where's the LaserJet located? In the main office. Miss Whitmore uses it for most official documents. Great. Thanks so much. I hung up and made a note. Document printed on Cassandra Whitmore's office printer. Proof of access. Step 3. Verify Commissioner Hayes' signature. I drove to the county administration building and requested copies of documents genuinely signed by Commissioner Hayes, budgets, permits, official letters, public records, all freely available. I took them back to the motel and compared them to the signature on the fake boundary adjustment. Not even close. Hayes' real signature had a distinctive flourish on the H, a specific slant to the Y, and consistent pressure throughout. The fake signature was flat, lifeless, clearly scanned and pasted from another document. I photographed both signatures side by side, with measurements and annotations showing the differences. Step 4. Follow the money. If Cassandra had paid for the demolition using HOA funds, there would be a record. And HOA financial records are quasi-public in Tennessee. Anyone can request them with reasonable cause. I submitted a formal request to the HOA's management company, citing my status as an affected property owner. 3 days later, a thick envelope arrived. Inside were bank statements, check registers, and payment authorizations for the past 6 months. I went through them line by line, the way I used to review evidence in federal cases. Most expenses were routine landscaping, pool maintenance, security contracts. Then I found it. September 19th, 2024. Check #4478 to Titan Demolition Services for $8,500. Memo line. Emergency structure removal, parcel W447. My parcel. The check was signed by Cassandra Whitmore. She'd paid for the demolition with HOA money. Money contributed by residents who had no idea it was being used to destroy someone's home. That was embezzlement. Step 5. Find the insider. No fraud scheme this sophisticated happens without help. Someone at the HOA knew what was happening. Someone filed the paperwork, processed the payments, maybe even helped create the fake document. I needed to find that person. So I started watching the HOA office. For 3 days, I parked across the street in my truck with a pair of binoculars and a camera with a telephoto lens. Old school surveillance. The kind that still works because people don't expect it anymore. I noted everyone who entered and exited, time-stamped every visitor, photographed license plates. Most were routine residents dropping off payments, maintenance workers, delivery drivers. But one person caught my attention. A woman in her 40s, thin, nervous energy, kept looking over her shoulder when she left the building. She drove an older Honda Civic, worked regular office hours, and always left exactly at 5 p.m., not a minute earlier, not a minute later. On the third day, I followed her. She stopped at a coffee shop, sat alone in the corner, staring at her phone like it was going to bite her. I walked in, ordered a coffee, and approached carefully. "Excuse me, are you Margaret Chen?" She looked up, startled. Fear flashed across her face. "Who are you?" "David Garrison. I'm the man whose cabin was destroyed last week." Her face went pale. I can't talk to you. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Please." She glanced around like the walls had cameras. Then she nodded. Barely. I sat down across from her. "I know you work for the HOA," I said gently. "I know you process documents, and I know you're scared." She wouldn't make eye contact. "Margaret, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to stop Cassandra Whitmore before she does this to someone else." "I can't." Her voice cracked. "She'll fire me. She'll destroy my life. She already destroyed mine, and she'll keep doing it unless someone stops her. You can be that someone." Long silence. Then, quietly, "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know she was going to use it like that." "Use what?" "The document. The boundary adjustment." She looked up, tears in her eyes. She asked me to print it, said it was for internal planning purposes only. "I didn't know she was going to show it to a demolition crew." "Did you create the document?" "No. She made it herself. On her personal laptop. She just needed me to print it on the office printer so it would look official." "And you did?" "I had to. My daughter has leukemia. The medical bills. I needed this job." Cassandra said if I didn't help her, she'd fire me and tell everyone I'd been stealing from petty cash. It wasn't true, but no one would believe me. I reached across the table, kept my voice steady. "Margaret, you're a victim too. But right now, you're also the only person who can prove Cassandra knew that document was fake. If I testify, she'll come after me. If you don't, she'll keep doing this. To you, to others, to anyone who stands in her way." She stared at her coffee for what felt like an hour. Then she said, barely a whisper, "What do I have to do? Tell the truth. Everything you saw, everything she said, everything she asked you to do. I'll make sure you get immunity. You won't go to jail. But we need your testimony." She closed her eyes, nodded once. "Okay, I'll do it." Step 6. Connect the pattern. Margaret's testimony was crucial, but I needed more. If I could prove Cassandra had done this before to other people on other properties, it would establish a pattern of criminal behavior. That would turn this from a single fraud case into something much bigger. I spent the next week digging through public records, property transfers, tax auctions, building permits, demolition notices. What I found made my blood run cold. Over the past 3 years, 6 properties on the edge of Smoky Ridge had been acquired by the HOA under suspicious circumstances. Each time, the pattern was identical. A property owner would receive HOA violation notices. The HOA would claim the property fell under their jurisdiction due to a boundary adjustment. A structure would be demolished. The owner couldn't afford to fight or rebuild. The property would go to tax auction. The HOA would buy it for pennies on the dollar. The land would be resold to developers at massive profit. 6 properties, same pattern, same predator. I contacted each of the previous owners. 3 had moved out of state. 1 had died. But 2 were still in Tennessee, and they agreed to talk. The first was a retired teacher named Barbara Simmons. She'd lost a small cottage in 2022. "They told me the same thing," she said, voice shaking with old anger. "Boundary adjustment, county approval. My cottage was unauthorized. They bulldozed it while I was at my son's wedding. When I came back, everything I owned was gone. Did you fight it?" "I tried, but I couldn't afford a lawyer, and the HOA had 5 of them, Eventually, I just gave up. Do you still have the documents they gave you? I think so. Let me check. She sent me copies. Same forged format, same fake signatures, same printer code. The second owner was a veteran named Marcus Webb. He'd lost a workshop in 2023. Cassandra Whitmore personally came to my property, he told me. Told me I was trespassing on HOA land. When I showed her my deed, she said it was outdated. Said the county had corrected the boundaries. I told her to go to hell. What happened? 2 weeks later, my workshop was flattened. She claimed it was a safety hazard. By the time I filed a complaint, she'd already sold the land to a developer. Did you sue? Couldn't afford it. I'm on disability. I barely had money for rent. 6 victims. Same scheme. Same criminal. This wasn't just fraud anymore. This was organized crime, and I was going to make sure everyone knew it. 3 days later, I walked into the district attorney's office with everything. The fake document, the printer code, the county clerk's statement, Margaret's testimony, photos of the demolition, and a paper trail showing Cassandra had authorized payment to the bulldozer company using HOA funds. The DA, a sharp woman named Rachel Torres, read through it all twice. Then she looked up. Mr. Garrison, this is one of the cleanest fraud cases I've seen in years. We're filing charges today. How long until trial? 30 days. Maybe less, if we can fast-track it. I nodded. Good. Because she's not just going to face civil penalties. She's going to face prison. Rachel smiled. She absolutely is. But I had no idea how much worse things were about to get, because Cassandra Whitmore wasn't just a fraud. She was connected. And she was about to make my life hell. The charges came down fast. Fraud, forgery, destruction of property, embezzlement of HOA funds. Cassandra was arrested at her office on a Wednesday morning. I wasn't there. I watched it on the local news from my motel room, coffee in hand. They walked her out in handcuffs in front of the entire HOA board, past neighbors who'd trusted her, past reporters who'd loved her community leadership stories. Her face was stone. Not scared, not ashamed, just cold. And when she glanced toward the news camera, I swear I saw her mouth 2 words. This isn't over. She was right. Because 2 days later, the retaliation began. It started with a letter from the Tennessee Bar Association. A formal complaint has been filed alleging you engaged in unlawful surveillance, harassment, and intimidation of Miss Cassandra Whitmore. An investigation has been opened. I read it 3 times. Unlawful surveillance? I'd filmed a demolition happening on my own property. Harassment? I'd asked questions during a legal investigation. Intimidation? I'd gathered evidence. But someone, Cassandra's lawyer, probably was trying to flip the narrative, make me the criminal, paint me as a vindictive ex-cop with a grudge. Then came the second blow, a lien filed against my property by Sevier County, unpaid demolition and cleanup fees, $35,000. Property subject to foreclosure if not paid within 60 days. I called the county attorney's office immediately. This is David Garrison. I just received notice of a lien for demolition fees. The demolition was illegal. It's literally the subject of a criminal case. The paralegal on the other end sounded bored. Sir, according to HOA bylaws, property owners are responsible for enforcement-related costs. I'm not in the HOA. According to the boundary adjustment filed in September, that document is fake. It's evidence in a fraud trial. Then, you'll need to resolve that in civil court. The lien stands until a judge orders otherwise. This is retaliation. Sir, I'm just processing the paperwork. I hung up, hands shaking. $35,000. For destroying my own cabin. Then the third hit arrived. My homeowner's insurance was canceled. Coverage terminated due to fraudulent claim activity associated with your policy. I'd never filed a claim. But when I called to dispute it, they had records showing someone using my name and policy number had filed and then withdrawn a claim for wind damage 2 months before the demolition. Classic insurance fraud flag, instant cancellation, another roadblock, another cost. Then came the worst one. A criminal complaint filed against me by Cassandra's attorney, co-signed by 3 HOA board members. David Garrison engaged in criminal harassment, trespassing on HOA property, and interference with lawful HOA operations. The charges were complete fiction, but they were official, filed with the DA's office, on the record. The sheriff called me in for an interview. "David, what the hell is going on?" I sat across from him in a windowless room that smelled like burnt coffee. They're retaliating, trying to bury me in legal problems until I can't afford to fight anymore. Are these charges legitimate? No, but proving that will cost me time and money I don't have, he sighed, rubbing his temples. I can't make this go away. You'll have to fight it through the system. I know. David, you sure you want to keep pushing this? Cassandra's lawyer is one of the best in the state. He'll drag this out for years if he has to. I don't have a choice. You always have a choice. I looked at him. Would you walk away? Long pause. No, probably not. So now I was facing a criminal complaint for harassment, a $35,000 property lien, canceled insurance, an ongoing bar association investigation, and a trial still 3 weeks away. I went back to the motel that night and opened my laptop to check my bank account. Savings, $47,000. Legal fees paid so far, $18,000 to Rachel Torres for the criminal case. If I had to defend against the harassment charges, that would be another $10,000 minimum. If I had to fight the lien in civil court, another $8,000. If the trial dragged on longer than expected, I'd blow through my remaining savings in 2 months. I'd be broke before I even got to court, and Cassandra knew it. She was betting I'd run out of money before she ran out of tricks. I sat there in that cheap motel room, staring at a spreadsheet of costs I couldn't afford, and for the first time since this started, I felt genuine, bone-deep fear, not of her, of losing. Because even when you're right, justice costs money, and I was running out. I poured a whiskey cheap stuff from the gas station and stared at it for a long time. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Drop the case. Walk away. This doesn't end well for you. No signature, no name, just a threat. I deleted it. Then another text. We know where Emily lives. My daughter. They were threatening my daughter. I stood up so fast I knocked the whiskey over, grabbed my phone, called Emily immediately. Dad, what's wrong? Are you okay? Is anyone following you? Watching your apartment? What? Dad, slow down. I'm fine. What's going on? Someone just threatened you. I need you to be careful. Lock your doors. Don't open them for anyone you don't know. Dad, you're scaring me. I'm serious, Em. These people are dangerous. Long pause. This is about the HOA thing, isn't it? Yes, Dad. Her voice softened. Maybe the sheriff was right. Maybe you should walk away. I closed my eyes. I can't. Why not? Because if I do, she wins, and she'll do this to someone else, and another person, and another, until someone finally stops her. But why does it have to be you? Because I'm the only one who can. Silence on the other end. Em, I spent 26 years catching people like her, people who think money and lawyers make them untouchable. If I walk away now, everything I believed in for those 26 years was a lie. Even if it costs you everything, even then. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, you're stubborn, you know that? I get it from your grandfather. She laughed, just a little. Okay, I'll be careful. But Dad? You be careful too. I will. But after I hung up, I sat on the edge of the bed and realized something. I wasn't just fighting for my cabin anymore. I was fighting for my life. And I was losing. That night, I didn't sleep. Just lay there staring at the ceiling, running through every scenario, every angle, every possible way this could end. Most of them ended badly. By dawn, I'd made a decision. I wasn't going to win this alone. I needed help. Real help. So I did something I'd sworn I wouldn't do. I called in every favor I'd earned in 26 years of federal service. First call, Frank Delgado, my old partner at the Marshals. David, long time. I need your help, Frank. I explained everything. The fraud. The retaliation. The threats. Jesus Christ, David, they're hitting you from every direction. I know, and I can't fight it all at once. I need someone to run Cassandra Whitmore through federal databases, see if there's anything we can use. RICO, money laundering, anything. Long silence. David, you know I can't just hand you classified access. I'm not asking you to break the law. I'm asking you to do your job. Check if there's federal involvement. If there is, the FBI needs to know. Another pause. Let me make some calls. Give me 48 hours. Second call. Rachel Torres, the DA. Rachel. They filed harassment charges against me. I know. I saw. It's obvious retaliation. Can you fight it? I can try. But David, you need to know this is going to get uglier before it gets better. Cassandra's lawyer is filing motions to delay the trial, suppress evidence, exclude testimony. He's doing everything he can to run out the clock. How long can he delay? Months. Maybe a year if he's good. I can't afford that. I know. I'm pushing for an expedited trial date, but the judge might not go for it. Try anyway. She paused. David, are you okay? You sound. I'm fine. You don't sound fine. I will be. Once this is over. Okay. I'll do what I can. But when I hung up, I didn't feel better. I felt cornered. Third call. My daughter. Dad? Hey, sweetheart. I wanted to hear your voice. Are you okay? Yeah. Just a rough day. Long pause. Dad, I've been thinking about what you said last night, about fighting even when it's hard. No. Listen. You taught me something when I was a kid. Remember when I wanted to quit piano because Mrs. Hendricks was mean? I remember. You told me, if you quit because someone's mean, they win. But if you keep going, you prove they were wrong about you. I closed my eyes. Dad, you spent your whole life catching people who hurt others. You can't quit now just because they're trying to hurt you back. I'm not quitting. Good. Because I didn't raise a quitter. She laughed. Wait, that doesn't work. You raised me. I smiled despite everything. You turned out okay anyway. I learned from the best. After we hung up, I sat there for a long time. Then I poured the rest of the whiskey down the sink, opened my laptop, and got back to work. Because Emily was right. I'd spent 26 years hunting criminals who thought they were untouchable. I wasn't about to let one beat me now. 2 days later, Frank called back. David, you need to sit down. I'm already sitting. Cassandra Whitmore isn't just running a local fraud scheme. She's been doing this for 3 years across 2 states. At least 12 properties. We're talking $2.8 million in fraudulent acquisitions. Jesus. It gets worse. She's been laundering the money through a shell company registered in Delaware. Wire fraud. Interstate commerce. This is federal. FBI? Already opening a file. They want to talk to you. When? Tomorrow. I'll send you the details. I exhaled. Frank, you just saved my case. No. I gave you ammunition. You still have to win the trial. I will. And I meant it. Because now, I wasn't just fighting for my cabin. I was taking down a criminal enterprise. That night, I almost gave up. Sat in the motel room with a bottle of whiskey I hadn't opened and thought about walking away. Let them win. Let Cassandra buy her way out. Let the system do what it always does, protect the people with money and crush the people without it. I poured a glass, stared at it. Then, my phone rang. Dad? Emily, my daughter. I answered. Hey, sweetheart. Dad, I just saw the news about your cabin, about the HOA president. Are you okay? I'm fine. You're not fine. I can hear it in your voice. I exhaled. They're burying me, Em. Legal fees, criminal charges, liens. I'm fighting, but I don't know if I can keep this up. Long pause. Dad, you spent 26 years catching people like her. You're telling me you're going to let her win? It's not about winning anymore. It's about surviving. No, it's about doing what's right. You taught me that. I closed my eyes. You're better than this, she said quietly. Better than giving up. So stop feeling sorry for yourself and finish what you started. She hung up. I sat there for a long time. Then I poured the whiskey down the sink, opened my laptop, and got back to work. Because Emily was right. I'd spent my entire career hunting criminals who thought they were untouchable. I wasn't about to let one beat me now. The next morning, I did something I should have done weeks ago. I called in favors. First call, my old partner at the Marshal's Service, Frank Delgado. David, long time. I need help, Frank. I explained the situation, the fraud, the retaliation, the criminal charges. Jesus, they're hitting you from every angle. Yeah, and I can't afford to fight all of it alone. What do you need? Access to federal databases, financial records, anything that shows a pattern. Silence. David, you know I can't just hand you classified access. I'm not asking you to break the law. I'm asking you to run a check on Cassandra Whitmore and Smoky Ridge HOA. See if there's any federal involvement, money laundering, wire fraud, anything. Long pause. I'll see what I can find. Give me 48 hours. Second call. Rachel Torres, the DA. David, what's wrong? They're filing criminal charges against me. Harassment, trespassing. That's retaliation. We can fight it. Can you fast-track the trial? Every day this drags on, they bury me deeper. I'll push for expedited scheduling, but the judge might not go for it. Try. She did. And 3 days later, the trial date was moved up. 2 weeks instead of 4. Then Frank called back. David? You're not going to believe what I found. Try me. Cassandra Whitmore has been running this scam for 3 years. At least 6 properties. Same pattern, fake boundary adjustments, forced demolitions. Then the HOA acquires the land at tax auctions when owners can't afford to rebuild. Jesus! It gets worse. She's been laundering the profits through a shell company registered in Delaware. Over $2 million. That's federal. Yep, wire fraud, RICO. The FBI is opening an investigation as we speak. I leaned back. Frank, you just saved my case. No, I just gave you ammunition. You still have to win the trial. I will. And I meant it, because now I wasn't just fighting for my cabin, I was taking down an entire criminal enterprise. The trial was set for a Monday morning in October 2024. I arrived at the courthouse early. Pressed shirt, clean shave. The same calm I used to carry walking into courtrooms as a federal witness. Cassandra sat at the defense table in a navy suit, her lawyer beside her, a slick corporate attorney named Harrison Voss, who looked like he billed $800 an hour. The gallery was packed. Reporters. Neighbors from Smoky Ridge. People who'd lost property to Cassandra's scheme. Judge Maria Santos took the bench. Late 50s, no nonsense, former prosecutor. She looked at both sides. Let's be clear. This is a criminal trial for fraud, forgery, and destruction of property. I won't tolerate theatrics. Understood? Both sides nodded. Rachel Torres stood. Your Honor, the state will prove that Miss Whitmore knowingly forged a county document, used that document to authorize an illegal demolition, and profited from a pattern of similar frauds. Harrison Voss stood. Your Honor, Miss Whitmore acted in good faith, based on legal advice. Any errors were administrative, not criminal. Judge Santos gestured. Call your first witness, Miss Torres. Rachel called me. I walked to the stand, was sworn in, and told the story. The cabin, the fake document, the demolition. Voss tried to rattle me on cross-examination. Mr. Garrison, isn't it true you were repeatedly warned about HOA compliance? No. I was harassed with fake notices. You're not a lawyer. How would you know they were fake? I'm a federal fraud investigator with 26 years of experience. I know a forgery when I see one. He faltered. Former investigator. The training doesn't expire. The gallery chuckled. Judge Santos gavelled once. Rachel called Margaret Chen next. She testified about printing the document on Cassandra's orders, about being threatened, about knowing it was fake. Voss tried to break her. Miss Chen, isn't it true you're testifying in exchange for immunity? Yes, because I was scared. But I'm telling the truth. Then Rachel played her ace. Your Honor, I'd like to call FBI Special Agent Frank Delgado. Frank walked to the stand in his full suit and badge. Agent Delgado, can you explain your involvement in this case? Yes. We've been investigating Miss Whitmore for wire fraud and RICO violations. She's been running a property theft scheme for 3 years, defrauding at least 6 victims of over $2 million. The courtroom erupted. Judge Santos gavelled hard. Order, Frank continued. We have bank records, emails, and testimony from multiple victims. This isn't an isolated incident. It's organized crime. Voss shot to his feet. Your Honor, this is prejudicial. Overruled. Agent Delgado is establishing pattern and motive. Continue. Frank laid it out. Every property, every victim, every dollar. By the time he finished, Cassandra looked like she'd aged 10 years. Then Rachel pulled up the fake document on the screen, side by side with a real county document. Your Honor, the forgery is undeniable. Different fonts, digital artifacts, and the printer code traces back to the HOA office printer. She turned to Cassandra. Miss Seven, Whitmore, did you create this document? I refused to answer on grounds of self-incrimination. Judge Santos leaned forward. That's your right, but this jury will draw their own conclusions. Closing arguments were brief. This is a clear-cut case of fraud. Miss Whitmore forged a document, destroyed a man's home, and profited from a criminal scheme. The evidence is overwhelming. Administrative errors aren't crimes. Miss Whitmore believed she was acting within her authority. The jury deliberated for 90 minutes. When they came back, the foreman stood. We find the defendant guilty on all counts. Cassandra's face crumbled. Judge Santos didn't hesitate. Miss Whitmore, you abused your position, defrauded multiple victims, and showed no remorse. I'm sentencing you to 8 years in federal prison, plus restitution of $2.4 million. The gavel came down. It was over. 6 months later, I stood on the deck of my rebuilt cabin. Bigger than before, stronger, steel-reinforced foundation, solar panels, security cameras. I'd used the restitution money. My share was $340,000 to rebuild and then some. The land was mine, free and clear. No HOA, no threats, no Cassandra. Emily came up for Thanksgiving. We cooked on the new grill, watched the sunset, didn't talk about the trial. You did it, Dad, she said quietly. We did it, I corrected. Smoky Ridge, HOA, dissolved after Cassandra's conviction. The board resigned. The development hired outside management with strict oversight. Several other victims reopened their cases. One got their land back. Frank called me last week. You ever think about coming back? To the Marshalls? Yeah. We could use someone with your instincts. I looked out at the mountains, at the quiet I'd fought so hard to keep. No thanks, Frank. I'm done chasing criminals. You sure? You just took down a $2 million fraud ring. That was personal. This, I gestured at the cabin, the trees, the peace. This is what I fought for. He laughed. Fair enough, but if you change your mind, I won't. I hung up and sat on the deck with my coffee. The mountains were quiet. The air was clean. My father's watch, salvaged, repaired, ticking again, sat on my wrist. For the first time in 30 years, I felt something I'd almost forgotten. Peace. Not the absence of trouble. The presence of justice. And that was worth everything.